What is up, everybody? Josh Tapp here again, and welcome back to the Lucky Titan podcast. And today we're here with Sydney Lich, like fish. I love how she said that. It actually helped lock that into my brain. I'm
Yep.
excited to have her here today because Sydney is all about social selling. I mean, this lady's created multiple six-figure businesses through building social followings, paid social followings, and many of you who are really following our stuff, you know that building a personal brand that really sells and solves a real need for your customers has to be paid. You know, these free communities, things like this, people get that infobesity that they're drowning in information. And Sydney and I were joking about this before the interview. I mean, it's so easy to just get sucked into the 45 different methods that people have instead of just focusing on any one of them that will work. So Sydney, I hope that was a good enough intro to make you just excited to be here. If you want to brag about yourself at all, go for it. But say what's up to everybody and we'll hop in.
Yes. Oh my gosh. I feel like I should carry Josh around in my pocket and have him introduce me in rooms. That's so amazing. No, I'm so excited to be here. I'm very honored to be here and really just excited to provide as much value as I can for everybody that's listening.
And I know they're going to appreciate that. So Sydney, let's start first into what is social selling. I mean, some people may not even understand truly what that means.
Yeah, I mean, social selling to me, there's so many different things, just like you said, that you can do. And I think social selling, at the end of the day, it comes down to how are you showing up online and how are you showing up in the world? Because I really like to use my in-person connections, my in-person relationships to transition it onto social media and use my social media as like a business card. And so how I look at social media is like the all-encompassing business card of what you're all about, what you stand for, your values, and what you're selling. And it should be so straightforward and to the point that people come to your page and a caveman could be like, yep, okay, I know exactly what Sydney does. It's simple, it's straightforward, and I either want to buy it or not right now.
See, and I love that because, and I have to preface this. One of the reasons I brought you on was because I am pretty anti social media following. And
Mm-hmm.
I have social media followers, right? But it's so difficult to monetize that. It's so difficult to make money off of it. We've literally worked with people who have 1 million people following them across their platforms and they can't make a sale. And so
It's
that's why I mean,
so true. It's
what
so
you've
true.
done is so unique because you've built multiple six-figure businesses that have you've built them around a following that you've monetized. So I'd really love to hear kind of your framework around helping people to monetize that.
Yeah, well, and that's something I hear all the time. I ask for, requests of what people would like to see more of. And more often than not, it's like, how do I grow my social media following? And I'm like, that's not the question you need to be asking yourself. The question you need to be asking yourself is, how can I monetize and build credibility in the network that I already have? Because guess what? I've worked with so many people in the network marketing space who have 1,000 followers on social media, and they have so much influence with those 1,000 people and the people in their life. It doesn't matter what their following is. There's people on social media making millions of dollars with a couple thousand followers. And again, like you said, there's people who can't sell 2 t-shirts that have 17 million followers. And so it has nothing to do with the amount of followers and everything to do with your credibility and the trust that you've built within those followers. And so when I started to quote unquote build my social media, which mine is very small relative to a lot of people out there, and I know that, but I have a cult following because I've interacted, I've responded to every single message, every single DM, as many comments as I can. And what I did with that was I found 1, 2, 3 vehicles that I really was passionate about and excited about, that I could then market on a daily basis, build the relationship with these people and sell them a product over time. But I always say, like, you have to build your love line, then you build your pipeline, then you build your downline. So it all starts with this love line of like a huge community of people that you're just loving on, you're building trust within, and eventually those become prospects. You build the relationships with those people. You ask them to take a look at the product you're selling, and it takes actively going out and talking to those people. And then they become, they become a sell, they become the person that's buying your product, they become a part of your community, they become a part of your downline if you're in network marketing. And so it's really that process and that funnel, but it all starts with building trust. And you cannot monetize anything until you have trust.
See, and I love that. I wrote that framework down just so you know. I love that. From the love line to the pipeline to the downline. And I mean, just to delve into that a little bit, I know the number one problem that people usually have with building a community is they don't want to take the one-on-one time.
Mm,
And my personal experience with this is I built, so I had like 25,000 followers on my social media, and I was like, yeah, this is fantastic. Wasn't making any money off of it.
yeah.
So we built a private community that they had to actually register for and be a part of. And it solved the real need for people by matching that podcasters with podcast hosts, or podcasters with guests, excuse me. And what we found was we had 500 people in the group initially, but I knew every single one of their names. I had talked with almost every single one of them, and it took me like 15 minutes a day. And it wasn't anything super difficult, but from that community, we have made tens of thousands of dollars from that one little community.
Yeah.
So how would you recommend for people to actually gain that trust in the online sphere?
You know, that's such a good question. And I'm really passionate about having people buy in, right? Like if they're gonna like join a free Facebook group, I don't think it should be free. I think if you're providing a ton of value, they need to be bought in because there's a million free Facebook groups, there's a million free text groups. Like charge for those services, not for you, but for them to have incentive to plug in and to be accountable. But you know, as far as connecting with people on social media and building the trust, it really is as simple as reaching out to every single person that follows you. And I know all of us have time to do this because it doesn't take that much time. Send, hey, thank you so much for supporting. I really appreciate it. What would you love to see more of? And if you just shoot that individual message to each person as they're following you, we just recently launched a podcast, and every single person that's followed us in the last week, like 250 people, not that many, every single person I've reached out and messaged and just been like, hey, thank you so much for following and supporting. I really appreciate it. Anytime you have a request, just shoot it over to me and I'll make sure to get back to you. But at the end of the day, if you're not investing that short bit of time every day, 10, 15 minutes, right, to get to know the people in your community, then you won't be able to serve the people you already have in the community. And you're always going to just be out searching for these people that you don't have. Focus on the people you do have and just talk to them, connect with them, and be genuinely curious, be interested versus interesting. And if you're willing to be interested in people's lives and instead of an interesting person that you think everyone should bow down to, then you're going to really start to build trust and real leadership skills within your community.
See, I love that because that's the love line, like you're talking about.
Mhm.
I mean, you're saying, hey, like, what's the content you want to see first? Um, this is what's hilarious, right? Most people will come to us and say, how do you know like what content's going to hit? How do I go viral, right? And and I mean, you can ask any person who is successful on social media. There's no viral hacking. It's not possible. Sometimes some random stupid piece of content you weren't even wanting to put out just becomes
It's
huge.
overnight success takes 6 to 10 years.
Yeah, exactly.
you know?
and and what I love about that though is if you really want content that will hit every time, and maybe it won't go viral, but it will go viral with your people, ask them, what type of content do you want? It's not that hard. There are literally, and I really don't condone automations, but if you are that lazy, one automated
Automate it.
message to your entire community and ask them, what content would you like to see? And
Yep.
you're going to get 15 to 30 content ideas right
Yep.
there. And that takes care of like your entire year of weeks worth of content, right?
It's so true, and people just aren't willing to ask. It's like
Right.
you have to ask for what you want, and that's something I just value, and I used to not. So if you don't and you're not in this space yet where you really value relationships, you get to a place where you value relationships, because at the end of the day, we all know this, but your network is your net worth. And if you don't start to build these relationships with the people who are already following you, you're never going to gain more followers because you're not appreciating what you already have.
Yeah. And I love that because, what you're talking about is really just loving people and nurturing them instead of how do you nurture your product? How do you make a better logo? How do you do all this stuff that is just completely and totally pointless? I love the fact that the way you're selling, and I really think this comes from network marketing, having a network marketing background as well. The number one lesson I learned there was if you'll love people, results will happen.
Yep.
And if you care more about them than getting the next sponsor or your next whatever they call it, like your affiliate commission, right? The next
Mhm.
commission off of it, you'll start to see that people will buy from you just because they like you.
Literally.
And then a second piece, and I want to highlight this because I think it transitions into kind of the pipeline downline selling type model for you, is when what you were talking about is you should charge for a community. And I want to kind of preface this because we have a lot of free communities. We personally do. And that's how we grow our companies as well. You kind of have to do that for the love line reasons, right? Yeah. But what we have found is literally even just adding a $5 a month charge onto something, people will show up and they will participate. Yeah. When it's free, they're going to forget about you because there are millions of groups out there that they could join that do the exact same thing you do.
Exactly.
So for you, how have you found that you can take them from the love line to the pipeline and then end up charging them?
Yeah, it all really does come down to that one-on-one relationship. And this is something I learned in network marketing, that it took me a lot of, I've worked really hard. I've worked really, really hard. And when I got started, I didn't have influence. I was 22 years old. I didn't have any influence. And so I had to really work to connect with people and learn a skill, right? Connection is a skill. Enrollment is a skill. And so from, moving people from them following me on Instagram to providing enough value for them to actually want to invest into anything from $8 a month up to $700 for their first buy into a network marketing company. It's all about the value. It's all about listening to what they actually need and then just figuring out what's going to work for them. I mean, at the end of the day, that's really what it takes. Like, reach out to 10, 15 people who are on your prospect list and check in with them and just be like, hey, I know we've connected before, but I think you'd really, really love what I have going on. I'd love to share more about it with you. Are you open to a conversation? And more often than not, if you've nurtured a relationship or if they've been watching you a while, they're going to be like, oh my gosh, thank you so much for thinking of me, right? They're going to feel honored because they're following you. They think you're too busy to get back to messages. And when you reach out to someone like that in that genuine way, and you have some basis off of it, they're much more likely to just get on the phone and then you listen to them. When I get on the phone call with people, you got to get on the phone. If you're in sales, you have to learn how to get on the phone. And I know it's scary sometimes if you're, even if you've been doing this a while, it can be intimidating to get on a phone call with a heavy hitter. But get on the phone and just listen. If you can just listen to people, let them express their pain points, they're going to talk themselves into the sale. They're going to talk themselves into whatever you have. And then you just get to be the savior that comes down and say, hey, I have something that can help that problem. And at the end of the day, it has so much less to do with what you're doing and how much, what you have going here and what you have going there. And it has nearly everything to do with who you're being and how you treat people in that process. And if you're willing just to treat people with genuine kindness and love, and that's just my Midwest background, people will receive it.
Yeah, I completely agree. Midwest. Where are you from in the Midwest?
I'm from Montana.
I'm from Idaho. We're in Idaho right now.
Stop. What? I live in Denver now, but yeah, I'm from Montana, right? Neighboring states.
Good to know. It's funny. Very few people realize that this is actually one of the biggest entrepreneurial hubs is the Idaho, Montana area. There are so many successful entrepreneurs here.
It's crazy. It's just, we hustle.
Yeah. And we know hard work. So that's funny. I didn't know that about you. Good to know. Yeah. Random side note, right? I digress.
I love it.
With your model, and this is what I love about it. And I want to say this is your model. And I also want to say, like, for those of you who maybe are like averse to network marketing, I wouldn't even say go join a network marketing company, but go to their events and pay attention. I mean, they have the best events because people like worship the people on stage. It is absolutely insane because they're like, everything about you, I want to become. And that's the number one reason why those companies scale quickly is because it's all about the community. And those people genuinely care about the people they're speaking to. And at least in the companies I was a part of. And I know for a fact that if you would go to those, you'd see that community aspect that Sydney's talking about here. So highly recommend that. And obviously right now, kind of pointless because you can't go to events while this is launching, but yeah, I would recommend it to people.
It's so true. And to touch on that, the reason I fell in love with network marketing was because 2 weeks in, I went to an event. I was told by the people who enrolled me, they're like, you have to come. We're helping you get there financially because we know you're absolutely broke. And I went to that event and I sat there and I was like, I'm going to be a millionaire on stage. I'm going to be on stage next year. And I was on stage the next year earning awards. And it is true. Like, people are like, is that Kim Kardashian? It's like this whole, famous world within a network marketing company, but there's such a platform there. If you're wanting to get into public speaking, if you're wanting to expand your reach and expand your network drastically, go find a network marketing company, become very successful very quickly. You'll learn so much. There's very little to lose. And the community aspect, you're at least going to meet some really awesome people.
Yeah, and I know for me, some of the best lessons I took from working in there was really how to do the affiliate side of sales as well. I mean,
Mhm.
we grew our company by downsell or the downline, right? We focused heavily on just getting new people in, but it kept disappearing, and I'm like, what on
Yeah.
earth? But then I realized if I would just focus on getting 3 or 4 people to sell online and sell the product, we were bringing in a ton of money just selling the product. And I recommend for anybody, if you're wanting to get into business at all, whether it's a network marketing company or you affiliate for a company, it allows you to, you're getting rid of all of the logistical items. You don't have to care about
Yeah.
the packaging of the product, right? The only thing you do is sell the product. If you sell it, you'll make the money, and you keep a good amount of the profits with some of those. So
Mhm.
love that. So Sydney, we're already, wow, we're quite a ways into the interview already. So I have to kind of start asking a couple more pointed questions with this, because I love the framework, love line, pipeline, downline. I hope people will think about that with their community. So for you, and I'm going to address this more towards like an agency model or a coaching model, how would you recommend that they start to monetize their community?
Mm. So if you're already in the space where you're providing value, you have a good following online, or even not a good following, just really good relationships. It For me, the thing I'm finding, I'm young, I'm 25, but the thing I'm finding as I'm getting older and getting more experienced in entrepreneurship is find the thing that's your zone of genius. Like, find the thing, if that's podcasting for you and you want to learn how to monetize your podcast, like, go all in on that. And if that brings you joy and you're great at it, you're going to be able to create income so much easier. If it's, for me, I love training. I love coming on and training mass amounts of people. For me, I love having a Facebook group that people come in, set up a landing page, $39 a month. If you pay it, awesome. If not, no worries. You're going to join eventually. That's just my belief, right? And so I'm not I'm not amazing at building out landing pages and necessarily like marketing and stuff, but I'm really great at training. And so I do the things that I'm really great at, and I can make money at it because there's so much money to be made, and outsource the rest. So if you're getting started, you're like, I don't know how to monetize, find a partner up with someone who does like doing that stuff, and maybe even, hire Josh, right? Like, hire someone to teach you how to do those things in a certain arena. Find the person that you want the result in their life of, and go follow everything that they tell you to do. And so again, I think right now, text communities are huge. Text communities are like your loyal following. And if you can have 1,000 raving fans in one arena, think about that. That's, 6 figures a year. If you're just charging $8.83 a month, that's 6 figures a year just in text community for 1,000 raving fans. And so really just look at like, what's a zone of genius that I can go into? What do I really love doing that I'm not going to get tired of doing once I hit that $1 million mark? And I'm going to want to do this for the long haul, not just, for a quick buck. And just go find someone to teach you how to do it. Go Google, like, the information's there. I'll just tell you that the information's there. It's whether you're hungry and you're passionate about the area that you're wanting to monetize. But that's something I do love about network marketing is I get to take every dollar that I make in network marketing and go pour it into anything so that I have the upfront capital to go diversify my income. And so if that's for me right now, it's jumping into a podcast and learning how to monetize that. And I know you even said like ads are like the lowest form of monetization in podcasts. So again, find someone who knows what they're talking about and go follow their guidance. For me, I love the text community. I love our $39 a month Facebook community where we get to provide value. So you can do it in very simple ways. And then as you're looking to scale, that's where I think you get to bring in mentorship. And that's something I'm doing in the next probably 6 to 12 months, is bringing someone in that can then say, okay, we're driving this even further. How are we growing this even more? How can we scale? How can we onboard? How can we outsource? And really looking for those other just those other simple things that are passive, because we also want to find things that are more passive, so that you're not a slave to your business. You want to have freedom when you're in business.
Yeah, and I love that, especially the way that you've been structuring your company that way. I think that, and I don't even think this is the one thing that I preach to people over and over and over again, is the fastest way to learn something is not to buy 10 or 15 books on it. It's to pay a coach a filthy amount of money to teach you exactly how to do it. Because when you pay them a lot of money, you're going to do every word that comes out of their mouth, and it has to hurt.
Yep.
And I've done this multiple times in my company. We do it like every 3 months. I'll go hire a new one, and I go and hire a new one, because every time when we're like, hey, this is the next activity that we need to learn how to do, they're the best person who can teach me how to do this. Let's go nail it together. Right. And they'll
100%.
custom tailor it to you. Right. Even if it's group coaching, if that's all you can afford right now, go do a group coaching thing. Anyway, so I love that
Yes.
you brought that up. Again, network marketing lessons.
It's
We beat from the same heart, right?
it's true.
It's a great it's a great way to learn how to do business. So, we've covered quite a few things in this, Sydney, and I want to ask you one final question, because we have covered a lot of topics. So I want you to say, what is the one final thing that you would hope people would take from this interview that they could go and apply in their own business?
Mm. I think the number one thing for this community specifically, because I know it's high achievers and people who are really doing something, I think it's like go find a circle that scares the shit out of you right now. Because can I cuss on this? Okay. Go find a circle of people that makes you so freaked out by what they're doing in the world, because you guys are all you know what to do. If you're on this podcast, you know what to do. Like you've learned the skills. You can take it to the next level, but the way that you take it to the next level is by getting into a new circle of those 5 people that are literally doing such big things that you wake up and you're like, I have to keep up. I don't have another option. And if you immerse yourself in something like that, it might not seem right away like it's going to pay you out, but your income over time will grow to the average of those 5 people. And so really take an assessment and say, during COVID, have I gotten lazy with my networking? Have I gotten lazy in the groups of people that I am, physically around online? Like, go join a mastermind, go join a coaching program, go find a coach that like is really going to push you, that pisses you off, like someone that triggers you. Go find those people in your life, because when I put myself around those people, I grow. Even if, again, it's not right away financially, you're going to find a way to move yourself up in the bracket and to motivate you, where you're finding that fire again to get out of bed, and your vision is so strong that it's just pulling you. So not necessarily something super tangible, but also go out there and find some people that scare the shit out of you, and put yourself around them every day.
I absolutely love that piece of guidance. We had an interview probably a year ago with Steve Sims. I don't know if you're familiar with him or not, but his entire platform is he takes people out, does a mastermind, and then makes them do things that make them extremely uncomfortable.
Oh, I love that. That's
It's
so good.
when he told me about it, I was like, that scares the living daylights out of me. Let's do it.
Yes.
He invited me to come on to one of their events, and then the coronavirus happened, so they can't do them right now. But
Yes.
some of what I thought was so intriguing about that is he's like, get around people, get uncomfortable, and you will shine. And
Yep.
our entire model with our company is built around that.
Yep.
Reach out to billionaires. They will
Lit-
respond to you if you do it right.
Literally. And that's something, if you guys want a great book, The Third Door by Alex Banyan was a great read, as far as like get yourself in the door with high level people. But something I'll share with you guys, like I've had a mentor, and I haven't had to pay a cent for it, because it's through network marketing, and I'm so grateful for that. But he pisses me off every single day. He irritates me every single day. Love him to death, but like no matter what, I get on the phone with him and I'm pissed, but I do anything he tells me to do. I trust him so much. He has the results in his life that I want in every area. And so I do anything and everything he tells me to do. First year of my business, I wasn't dating. I had a curfew. Like, it was very strict because I had huge goals. But find someone who cares about you enough to call you on your shit. Really go out and find someone who cares about you enough that's actually going to push you, because as high achievers, it's hard to find people that care about you enough to push you to the next level, instead of just kind of like keep you where you're at. Like, oh no, man, it's fine. You're making $1 million. It's cool. Just, stay there. Find someone who raises your bar and be the person for other people that raise their bars. Don't play small for people. And at the end of the day, it's all about the people.
Yeah, I completely agree. Well, and we've covered tons in this interview, so I want to just give people one final call to action for you. Really, social selling is one of those things that you really can't learn it without experiencing it. So I would highly recommend all of you go and buy Sydney's programs. I mean, go sign up for her little programs, because they're, first off, that's cheap, $88 a month. Just go do that, and then copy
It's so
everything
great.
she does. Just copy it.
Yeah, take it.
Go use it. It will work. If it's working for her, it'll work for you. So Sydney, where can they get access to your programs and you in general?
Yes. So they can listen to my podcast, Selling Social, on all platforms. They can follow me at Sydney Lich, just my first and last name, Lich, not Lish. And then sellingsocial.online is my website. And if you do find me through this podcast, reach out to me. I respond to every message I get. And it is me. And I would love to connect and know that you found me through here. And I'd love to connect with you. And Josh, you're incredible. I'm so grateful that we connected. You're so awesome. And I can totally tell that we're cut from the network marketing cloth and the Midwest cloth.
Yeah, and the Midwest cloth, right? Well, Sydney, thank you so much. So I do want to ask you the very final question with this. What would be like a quote that has just motivated your life that you feel like would be something that you hope everybody in the audience would know?
Chop wood, carry water. And what that means, essentially, there's a book on it, Joshua Medcalf. But essentially, work hard, keep your eye on the prize, stop looking left and right, and never read your own press clippings, positive or negative, because people are always going to say certain things about you. And if you let that deter you, if you let it slow you down, and you stop chopping wood and carrying water day in, day out, day in, day out, you stop doing the things necessary to move you forward. You might be able to coast for a little bit, but eventually you're going to taper off. You're going to lose your edge. You're going to lose your momentum. And so I just recommend every single person on here chop wood and carry water day in and day out. And having that mantra for myself has allowed me not to look at the recognition, not to look at the haters, and continue to just stay in my lane.